Welcome, Joslyn Center Facebook Live fans. My name is Jack Newby. We're here on Interview Fridays. You will also find this recording on our podcast and on our YouTube channel, which is look for the Joslyn Center and then Joslyn Television. Welcome. We'll be going into our interview in a few moments, but first we want to cover some things that are happening here at the Joslyn Center. We will be closed on Monday, June 20th, and that's an observance of Juneteenth. That's a new federal holiday, and we wanted to be sure that we observe that holiday, which is kind of the celebration of the Emancipation Proclamation and the slaves in Texas learning that they were free. So it is now a national holiday called Juneteenth. We want to invite you to our July 4th barbecue, and that is going to be on Friday, July 1st, and it's sponsored by Revel here in Palm Springs, which is a housing community, which is a beautiful place to live. It's also co-sponsored by Bill Hart's Desert Insurance, Scan Health Plan, and Reliance Hospice. So please RSVP so we can make sure we have enough food for everyone by calling 760-340-3220 and tell them you want to RSVP for the Joslyn 4th of July barbecue, and be sure you do that by June 27th. Also, we are a cooling center. So if you're hit in the summer with very high electricity bills, which happens here in the summer in the desert, we invite you to come here at the Joslyn Center, turn your air conditioner, up to 80 or 85 while you're not home. Come here, enjoy our classes, enjoy just relaxing in the lobby, having a cup of coffee, spend a few hours here and save money on your electric bill. And also, if you sign in, you'll get a water and a snack provided by the County of Riverside and sponsored by Southern California Edison. We have coming up a great class in our wellness center called Brain Boot Camp, and that's on Wednesdays coming up on June 22nd and then June 29th. It's a 2-session course, and I can tell you it is fascinating and a fun course. And I've actually started the training with UCLA Longevity Center. They're the ones who developed this course, and the research behind it about brain health and improving your memory is something you really want to learn. So be sure you sign up for that class. You can call 760-340-3220 and ask for Jose at extension 117. And also coming up is the Brain is the Aging Mastery course. And that's a 5-session course. And what we're doing with these courses, they're both in person and hybrid. So you can come here and attend the class in person, or you can attend the class via Zoom. And the next one coming up is on July 12th, and you can learn more about that. And again, call Jose at 760-340-3220, extension 117. And finally, don't forget, our Salon de Joslyn. It is a free haircut and beauty appointment. You can call 760-636-0577 for appointments. The services are free. The stylist does ask for $20 gratuity for facials and $5 for other services just to cover their expenses. And so that is what's going on here at the Joslyn Center. And that's just a little bit. We have about 65 programs and activities every week. So it's a great place to come, enjoy yourself, and like I said earlier, get away from the heat. So today we have a really interesting interview. It's with Johnny Wilson of Life Writers, and Johnny will be joining us in just a moment. And it's a way for you to write a book, and Johnny's going to help us with that. So we'll welcome Johnny. There you are. How are you doing this morning?
Great. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you. And So first, before we get in, our audience sometimes likes to know a little bit about the person we're talking to, a little bit of their background. So um, we're going to talk about Life Writers, but tell us a little bit about Johnny Wilson.
Okay, well, so a little bit about my background. Let's see, I graduated college actually exactly 20 years ago, believe it or not, um, in a degree in film with an emphasis in screenwriting. Now, it wasn't really until after college I started traveling quite a bit. I think I did about a couple dozen countries and just really found true stories very interesting and meeting people that have these incredible stories. And I've got just hundreds of journals, and because some things you can't make up. Truth is stranger than fiction sometimes. So I'm a writer. The my wife is the other one in this company, Life Writers. Now, she went to college at UC Santa Cruz and then went to Mills College in San Francisco, um, with a degree in English. Now, after that, she spent 20 years working in newspapers, not really as a writer, but as a copy editor and also graphic designer, and was in charge of the layout, how the newspaper looks. So she's got a lot of experience in graphic design. So that's a little bit about her. And yeah, we live right up the mountain from you guys in Mountain Center.
Okay.
Yeah, almost to Idlewild, near Lake Hemet. So.
So tell us about Life Writers and what it is, and what you can do for people.
Yeah, so Life Writers, in a sentence, it's a one-stop shop that writes, edits, designs, and prints the book of people's lives. And we do that through interview, and then transcribe the whole thing. I'll get into the process a little bit more in detail later, but basically what we're here for is to get people's life stories from basically being stuck in their own heads into a nice book like such as this one. This is one of the latest ones we did. It was about a master diver who started commercial diving in the 60s and made a really fascinating career out of it. The reason we're doing this business is because we know that everybody has such an amazing, unique, incredible story, whether they think so or not. But the thing is that most people don't write their stories. They don't write their memoirs because it's hard. It takes a long time to do it, and most people don't want to do it. So unfortunately, all those stories kind of goes with them whenever their time is up. So we're kind of here to preserve their life stories more for their family's sake, like a nice heirloom, so they know who this person was. Like, their grandchildren will get to know their grandfather who wrote the book of their life. And so it's just really for, having a nice heirloom to preserve the person's history, basically.
Well, it sounds like a great opportunity for someone, and a great gift to the family, to hear some of those stories that maybe they didn't hear around the Thanksgiving table or something like that.
Exactly.
And to really delve a little deeper into the lives of their parents or grandparents. So how does this process happen? If I'm not a writer, how am I going to have a book happen?
Well, first you give us a call, and so our process really can be broken down into 4 steps or 4 phases. The first phase would be the interview phase, and this is where we bring our audio equipment and we meet the author, our client. By the way, we call our clients authors because ultimately at the end they will be the author of their book. It'll say written by Jack Newby, and you get full copyrights as well. So this will be entirely your book. So we sit down. The author picks their place of choice to get interviewed. Usually it's at their own home in their favorite chair, or couch, and we basically have a conversation for 2-3 hours or several hours. We capture everything into an audio recording, and then we move to phase 2, which is the writing phase. This is where we take that audio recording and we transcribe the whole entire thing. And then we take that transcription and make it into a reader-friendly manuscript. So it's not just, so it makes it entertaining, page turner, something you want to read and not put down. So once the writing is done, that goes into phase 3, which is the design phase. Now, this is where we ask the author to send us any kind of photos or memorabilia or newspaper clippings or awards, whatever they want to have in their book, mostly photos. And then so we take that, this is where my wife comes in and takes the photos and interweaves them into the text. So it creates a nice book design layout. So once the words are good, the layout looks good, then we go into the final phase, which is the printing phase. This is where you decide how you want your book to look like. Like, do you want like a soft cover like this? Do you want the photos in full color or black and white? Or do you want a nice thick hardcover? It's kind of the specs of the book. Like, what color paper do you want? Do you want the bright white paper that you usually find in textbooks, or do you want that kind of that creamy color you find mostly in novels? And then lastly is, how many copies does the author want? Do they just want 2 or 3 for their 2 or 3 grandchildren, or do they want 50? So that's basically the 4 phases. Now, interestingly, we actually have a 5th phase, which is publishing it on Amazon. So this person, we created his book, and he loved it so much. He said, well, how can I get the world to get this? So we actually, we work with Amazon to self-publish the author. And now this is not, although Amazon prints it and creates the book and ships it and delivers it, the author still has full copyrights, and it's self-published. So it will say published under, Phil Thompson here. So that's kind of our 5th phase we're doing. And it's pretty exciting because this book has been shipped to Denmark, to Thailand, to all over the world. And it's, so that's our 5th phase.
So is the author, just curious, does the author get any royalties from that through Amazon?
He does, actually. It's very generous what Amazon does. Let's see, Amazon takes 40% and the author gets 60%. So, and you name your price too. He decided to put this book on for $14.95. So it works out. Amazon gets, I think he gets like $6.50 a book, and Amazon, and minus the printing costs, but printing costs are just, it's only like $2 a book. So it's really, really cheap to do it that way. So yeah, no, he was, he likes, it's basically, so, and then I wanted to say like a
then actually him on the cover.
Yeah, that's him back in the 60s or 70s.
Yeah, looks like a movie star.
He does. That's him kind of, he looks more, well, I can show you a picture. That's more what he looks like now. So that was just, we took that picture at his home. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. At first we decided to do it he wanted to do it just for his family. And he wanted to talk about his career out in the sea, because he didn't, everybody knew him at home, like his family life. So he just talked about his career in this book. So yeah.
So how do you, when you're writing the book, I mean, I would assume they're back and forth, because some people, like, I was relating to some coworkers, some experiences I had in my life, which they thought I did some crazy things back in the day. And so is it a series of vignettes about things that occur in a person's life, or is it like this one, a story of, his career and what he did, which family really wasn't aware of, and the adventures he had as doing that as a deep sea diver? How do you work and decide, how the book is going to be put together?
Well, that's really totally 100% up to the author and how he wants to do it. If he wants more of a biography, like his whole entire life, all the everything he's done since he was born, he or she, or do you, like you said, vignettes? And that's funny you said that, because the person we're currently working with right now, he's creating a book just for his granddaughter. I mean, he's in his mid 80s. His granddaughter, I think, is 4 or 5 right now. So he's making this book and kind of telling these short little stories. It's not really a linear thing. It's just basically his thoughts on art, his thoughts on poetry, his thoughts on sports, so it is like a series of vignettes. And the idea for that one is that when she's in her teenage years or in her 20s or whenever, then he's going to give this book to her, so she can know who he was, because he probably won't, I mean, hopefully he's around, but probably won't be by the time she's in her teens. So it really can be anything you want. If you just want to talk about just your adventures when you traveled to Africa for a month, the entire book could be about that. It's really up to the person and what they want to share with who they want to share it with.
So you mentioned photographs, and most of us have Polaroids or photographs taken with film in the olden days. How do you turn that? How do you use those sorts of photographs?
Well, we have a high resolution scanner. And actually, I just want to show you if I can find this really quick. So we scan the photographs, and there's this wonderful thing called Photoshop. And I just want to give you an example. If I can find it, here it is. Okay, so this photo right here. I don't know if you can see that. That was him in Egypt. But the original photo was so dark, like you couldn't see his face or the camel's face. You could basically see just the background. So it was really, the contrast was really bad. We scanned it, and we just lightened the exposure so you can actually see his face. And I mean, this is taken from a real photograph that he gave us, just on photo paper. So we scan, and we don't mess with it. We don't add things. We just kind of brighten it up so you can see the details a lot better, Okay. So,
I have a photograph very similar to that.
Yeah, send it over. We'll lighten it up for you.
Well, that's my story real quick. When I was in Egypt, the group, our guide was telling us how much it was going to cost to ride on the camel. And then other people said, well, that person over there is saying it's, $20 less than what you're saying. What's the deal? And he said, well, if it's $20 less, that's the price to get on the camel and ride it. Then you negotiate the price to get down.
I think that's exactly the same story of that picture that was there. Very similar. That's probably the same guy, because he didn't charge him anything. Let's see, how do you put it? He didn't charge him anything to get on the camel. He said, hey, do you want to come on the camel and take a picture, have me take a picture? And so he gets on the camera, takes that picture, and then charged him $5 or $10 to get off the camel, because they're so high up, you can't just jump off.
No.
And there happened to be rocks all around the camel. So, if you did try to jump off, you'd probably twist your ankle or something. So that was probably the same guy.
Could be, yes. So is there a minimum number of books that a person needs to print?
There really isn't. You can do one if you want. It's just the cost. We always recommend a minimum of 25, just because that's where the price break is, and it turns out to be actually cheaper if you get 25 of them than if you get, say, 2 or 3. So, but if they only want 2 or 3, or if they just want one printed, that's fine too. So
you mentioned pictures. What about letters and things like that, that, maybe letters that were written back and forth between, in parents who then, later got together and became parents, but during the time they were dating or something like that. Is that something that people can include in the book?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we can either do the actual letter and scan the piece of paper, or and then include that with the actual original handwriting, or we can take just the words and just rewrite it so it's easier to read and just type it out. It's however they want. The author has 100% control of the outcome of the book, so it's whatever they want to do. And if there's like stuff that can't be scanned, like a statue or a canvas of a painting they did, then we just take our photography department and we'll just take high resolution pictures of those so they come out really clear. And
okay. So you mentioned the first step in this process is they contact you. So how would someone contact you?
Well, there's a couple ways. You can do it by going to our website, which is mylifewriters.com. I'll spell that out. It's MYLIFE, then writers, WRITERS.com. Or you can give us a call. The best way to get all your answers, your questions answered, is to just give us a call on our main line, which is area code 951-744-5800. I'll repeat that one more time, 951-744-5800. And so give us a call or go to our website. We have a contact form, how to get a hold of us, and shoot us a quick message.
So you mentioned this process from that phone call and making a decision to go through with it. About how long does it take?
So the process from start to finish takes, well, it really depends on how much material there is, but we roughly 10 to 12 weeks. We want to try to get a book done in 3 months or less. And that's a big book. If it's just a few thing like it'll take less time, obviously, but the 10 to 12 weeks is what we shoot for. Now that's starting at the very beginning from the interview. I want to mention too that if you've already started writing your memoir, let's say you're already 80 pages in and just kind of don't have time or don't want to continue it and have us finish it, that's fine too. And that's going to be significantly less time and less money too. Since it's already written, we just go and do the editing. We skip the whole interview part, the whole writing phase, and then just go straight into editing and then design and print. So you can come into, if you already have a manuscript partially or fully written or partially written, we can help you from there on. We don't have to start at the beginning.
So in terms of cost, and I'm sure it ranges as to whether it's softback or hardback and number of pages and photographs and that sort of thing, but you don't do this for free. So what is the range of cost that someone would be looking at?
Yeah, well, let's say like a book like this one. This is 128 pages. It's got about roughly 25 photos, and took us a long time. Well, not a long time, but we got it done under the 3 months. And this was, I think it was about 4,500. It was under 5,000. But we work with your budget, and it's really how we want you to get your story down on paper. So if you're, can't afford that, then we can do something like, we actually offer these things called mini memoirs, which is just basically more of like a poetry book. It's just like about 8 pages, very to the point, very brief. It's nothing like quality like this. I mean, but it's a mini memoir that will get the author's main points out, or just wants to tell a short story about something. And then we include 3 or 4 pictures, basically a memoir, but miniature version. And then we charge $800 for that. It's just kind of a quick bio thing. And then also, if you want to just be, you're not interested in writing this whole thing, but you do want to have your voice recorded and onto a flash drive onto your computer, we can just do the interview portion, and we charge $250 for a 2-hour interview. And then that will just give you the audio, but none of the writing or the pictures or anything like that. So,
Okay,
but we do offer free consultation. So if anyone's interested, we can meet with them and, spend about an hour to try to gauge the size of the project. And then we come up with an estimate of roughly how much this will cost, or the cap. It won't cost more than this unless they go over what they, this was about 20,000 words. So it's really, so there's no surprises, but so we can meet for a free consultation, and then so we're both on the same page about how long the book's going to be, how many pictures can be included, and how much it's going to cost, basically.
So I imagine this has an impact on people's lives, not only the ones that write the book and tell the story, like the one you've been showing us, and his ability to not only tell a story, but then now sell it on Amazon. It sounds like he was pretty excited about the book, but also, the impact on the lives of children or grandchildren who have this tangible thing with their relatives' story in it. What are some of the reactions you get?
Oh, but nothing but positive. We get so many thank yous for doing this, and like this person's son, he was just, he keeps emailing me how grateful he is that we made this book, because like you said, a lot of the stories just never get told. And then so this is a way to, and even his wife didn't know half the stories in this book. So the impact, I mean, we get comments like, thank you for writing the book of my dad, we can now have forever, and stuff like that. So, first they start as a project, so they really kind of enjoy the whole process, but then once they have the finished product, like, they know that even when their time is up, they have this book that can continue to influence people and educate people. And I mean, this is for generations to come, children, great grandchildren that they haven't met yet or probably won't meet. So it's kind of a way to immortalize yourself. So they feel really good about it. And then they want to take it to Amazon and let the whole world know about it. So.
Well, Johnny, I want to thank you for letting us know about this. It's really fascinating. It makes me think about, maybe this might be something I'll want to do at some point. I know my mom tried to, write, and I have her manuscript that she was writing about her life and her mother. She called it White Collar Mother, but it was a very interesting story, and she was never able to finish it. So I think having the ability for people to finish that story when they don't know anything about writing is a really great service.
Sure. Yeah.
And really can have an impact on the family. I know reading my mom's, what she was able to do and some of the material she had, it just really gave me a different insight into my grandparents. And, my grandmother I knew, my grandfather on my mom's side I never knew because he died when she was very young. So it really is, a real gift to the family. So again, that number that people can call to get in touch with you.
The number is 951-744-5800.
Okay, Johnny, I want to thank you very much. Wish you a great weekend and a happy Friday. And we look forward to hearing more about you. And I'll check on Amazon for that book. It sounds interesting.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, Jack.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too.
All right. And we'll see you and our audience next Friday at 11 o'clock, Facebook Live Interview Fridays. Thank you.